Welcome back to the MTV Solar podcast. I've got with me today the team of MTV Solar experts in solar, battery backup, and all things to do with solar. Um, we appreciate you all following along on our podcast. We encourage you to continue. We've got, at last count, over 35,000 views to our podcast. It's something that we just tried to see how it would work out. It turns out that it's been wildly successful. So we're going to continue to give information out to the folks that are looking for that. Today's topic is the Tesla Powerwall, and it's a good topic. It's one we're all very excited about, and we've got a bunch of information here for you. All right, so let's talk about MTV Solar's battery backup experience. I've got a lot of information there. We bought a solar decathlon house in 2005, for those of you that remember the decathlon, and it had a Xantrex system, which we now know is Schneider, and it had two inverters, and they were both 110. We teamed them together to get 220, and we put in a lead acid battery backup system. That was in a house that we moved from the mall in DC out to West Virginia. We reconstructed the house and gave it and we're building contractors that you might already know from watching our podcast. And we took the house and reconfigured it and gave it like a 1970s passive solar look that also gained, we had a lot of thermal gain. It was a SIPS panel house, and we had a nice little solar system on there, a solar hot water system, and we put up a 100-foot tower for a windmill. So that was our experimental home where we learned a lot about renewable energy in 2006, 2007. So in that system, we had a battery backup system that I got to live with every day for about 7 years. So we got a lot of experience there. We took that experience and we grew from it with our team. So we learned at the house I lived in, and the learning was done by our electricians, our salespeople, and the rest of our crew. And from there, we managed to get the product out into the Mid-Atlantic region. And to date, we've got over 150 battery backup solar projects in the Mid-Atlantic region, most of which we still service. And we've been adding to the list of projects that we manage. There's other companies that come and go in the solar space, as you all might know, and battery backups are difficult. So we now are taking care of dozen or a couple dozen systems that were installed by a different company that we've now gone in and fixed, and now we're managing that. A battery backup system does take a little bit of maintenance, and you need to make sure that the system's operating properly, the battery health is appropriate, and that all the software and firmware is up to date. So what I'm trying to tell you is we got just a bunch of experience with all different types of battery backup systems. The Schneider systems, the Outback systems, the SMA systems, and then the Solar Edge is what we're looking forward to coming. But today we're going to talk about the Powerwall. As soon as we had the opportunity to get the Powerwall, we jumped on it. It's been one of our hottest sellers, and it's a wonderful product. I'm not the technical guy. We'll cover some of the technical parts of that with the experts on our screen today. But we've got just a long tradition of solving problems in rural West Virginia and rural Virginia for off-grid, grid-assisted, and generator backup systems that are battery and solar. So with that, I think we'll open up the discussion to the rest of our team. And as usual, please like, subscribe, and follow us below. And please send in your questions. We'll use those questions to formulate podcasts that we do in the future. And enjoy the podcast. This should be a very exciting one. Thank you.
What is the Tesla Powerwall?
The Tesla Powerwall is an innovative, effective, and long-lasting lithium-ion battery. One of the beautiful things about the Powerwall is that it can provide a number of functions to meet your needs. So in a lot of places with time of use pricing where electricity is more expensive in some hours than others, it's used to shift when folks use electricity. That's really prevalent in California. In other locations, it's used for self-consumption, which is very prevalent in Hawaii, where the battery is charged by solar and then discharges into your house overnight. So you're running entirely off of, or as much as possible, off of your own solar panels, even overnight. Or it's used for battery backup in places that lose power frequently. So it can be used to back up all or part of your home. And another really great piece about Tesla Powerwalls is that they're very stackable or very modular. Each Powerwall has a continuous output of 30 amps for one Powerwall, 2 has 60 amps, 3 has 90 amps, one Powerwall has 13.5 kilowatt hours stored, 2 has 27 kilowatt hours stored, and 3 have 40.5 kilowatt hours stored, and on up. And I mention that math just because you can fit the size of the Powerwall system in a very stackable, modular way to meet your needs and meet your backup needs or meet your self-consumption needs, so that once the power goes out, you can back up things as small as a refrigerator and some lights, or as large as a heat pump. So the Powerwall, it's got a great monitoring system too, and is really designed to be either installed at the time of solar installation or as a retrofit to existing installations, or as a next step in your solar journey and your solar implementation at your home. So Powerwalls are great. We love installing them.
Mike, can you tell me a little bit more about what Powerwall can do, with backup and demand, and maybe its potential for off-grid?
Definitely. Yeah. The Powerwall is just a wonderful battery. We're finally glad we have it, and we're selling them literally as fast as we can get them. So a battery backup system can be used for self-consumption, which is using the battery on a daily cycle if you would like. It's obviously good for backup power when the power goes out. It's also good for off-grid applications. And it's also an excellent device to use for a demand charge mitigation strategy, which is mostly for our commercial customers out there. So there's a wide variety of things the battery can be used for. What we know is that the Powerwall, and with the way that Elon runs his businesses, is that the firmware and the software that we get and the ever evolving capacity of his products are what make it very, very attractive. So we're able to feel very comfortable that we're going to have more firmware to install that's going to allow us to expand the usage patterns for it. So like I said earlier, I'm not the technical guy, so I might open it up to the rest of the folks on the screen to talk about when, for instance, when would we want to use self-consumption? When would we want to have it just for battery backup for grid outages, things like that. So let me see who would like to jump in and talk about when's a good time to use it as a self-consumption strategy.
So self-consumption simply means that you're consuming your solar energy on site all day long. So as little as possible of your solar generation is exported, and as much as possible is used on site before it even hits your electric meter. There's a couple applications where it's really useful. One is locations like Hawaii, where there is a ton of solar connected to the distribution and transmission system. And it's an island, so it can't export or import electricity the same way we can here in the continental US on the mainland. So in Hawaii and other island nations or other island places, it's really useful to consume as much of your solar all day long and use it on site, rather than a complicated transmission and distribution system that has trouble with intermittent electricity. So that's Hawaii. That's one example. The second is kind of a moral reason, and this is more in our region, and this is what I've seen in my day-to-day, where folks like the idea, because it is a powerful idea and it's powerful to know you're using as much of your own electricity as possible, where folks will have solar installed and then will set their Tesla Powerwall system to discharge to a pretty low state of charge so that their batteries can charge during the day as their solar system is putting out electricity, and then discharge overnight when, the refrigerator kicks on at 2 in the morning in a cycle. It'll draw from the Tesla battery systems. And so folks like that because of the whole idea of self-sufficiency and using their own electricity as much 24 hours a day as possible.
Thanks, Danny. That was good. So to talk more about, what else the Tesla Powerwall can be used for, there's, Danny was talking about a time of use structure where you want to use the battery during the day. So, in a broader sense, as the utilities, get more and more aware of solar and storage entering their grid, behind the meter, customer owned, as they get more and more aware of that, they're looking at how they're going to adjust the structures and the tariffs that affect all solar customers and all storage customers. So we know that the utilities are in business to make money, and they also know that there's more and more people that are self-generating. So what we feel very comfortable with, especially working with Tesla, is that they're going to develop the firmware and the software that's going to be available to manage and to work around any of the imposed tariffs that will come in the future. So what that means is that as the utility changes their rate structure and adjusts their tariffs, okay, that's going to come at you from the state level. It's going to be mandatory. As that starts to happen, we feel very confident that Tesla as a company will have a strategy in place that we can use to help the customer not have a customer strategy in place where they're going to get to fully continue the benefits of their solar system and their storage system. So that's a wide open topic. There's lots of interpretation there, but we've already seen Tesla modify and approach the impending tariff, increases for our customers in a way that we can help them with that strategy. So that means that this product is not just for right now. It's future-proofed, and it's built to be expanded. It's a computer with a storage component to it, and that's the way that people can feel very confident picking this system, that it will grow with your needs, especially as utility starts to adjust and change the structure. The next thing batteries can be used for, I wanted to touch on, is that especially if we're looking at what's happening out in California and all the fires, all the hurricanes, all the power outages. Solar and batteries have a component to play in disaster relief. It's already happening. The Tesla Powerwall is a great option for a mobile trailer. We have one that we've built that we can take and use for pumping water during a power outage, or for helping people with refrigeration or whatever they might need. It's a small one that we use for trade shows, but we can build more of those to help in disaster relief. So there's another thing that batteries can be used for in storage. Think of it as a solar powered generator. Solar panels and batteries is like a fossil fuel generator. It has some limitations, but it has a lot of different advantages. So I hope that answers your question, Carrie.
Yeah, thank you. So Jabari, how much does the Tesla Powerwall cost?
That is a great question, and I want to see if I can answer it the best way possible. Uh, Batteries cost depending on the size, capacity, and the actual battery technology that you're using. In case for the Tesla Powerwall, not only is it the cost of battery, but there's also uh, other components that go along with the installation cost. Um, you would need a backup gateway, which is a smart uh, automatic transfer switch. If you have solar, you will also need a generation panel. That way, you can tie your solar into the battery system so your solar can continue to recharge the battery during bright sunny days. And then there's other components that are involved in the battery installation. So every installation is unique. It's based upon your house layout. How many batteries do you want, and what are you trying to accomplish? Do you want to do a whole house backup where your batteries can supply power to every circuit in the home? Or do you want to do a sub panel where you just identify some of your key circuits that you want to power during a power outage? And all those different variations can adjust the cost of installation with the battery system. So that's why we always tell people reach out to your local installers or MTV Solar, and we can provide a proposal for you that will accomplish your goals.
That makes sense. Thank you. Do I need to have a battery if I have solar?
Actually, you do not need a battery to go solar. Um, the net metering model is designed to go batteryless. So essentially, it works, and we've covered this in previous podcasts, but we'll touch on it really quick. Um, it is designed so that during the day you're producing the amount of energy that you're consuming, but you're also producing a net, and that is going through your main service panel into the meter and spinning your meter backwards and going to the grid. Most likely going to your neighbors because it's the path of least resistance, the shortest path for electrons. So you are sending the excess to the grid, and you are getting credited a retail rate in most cases for that excess that you are sending to the grid. So it's a really clever system of billing that allows homeowners to generate and not it doesn't require batteries, which is, if everybody's ready to make that investment, or it's become, power outages. There was a period of time where we were having higher frequency of power outages, and it seems like utilities are doing a lot more preventative cutting recently. So power outages aren't as common, and that's a whole nother story. But it's important to note that if the power does go out, it is part of National Electric Code that inverters have a rapid shutdown mechanism. And so if you don't have batteries, you are not necessarily going to have power, or you won't have power when the grid goes down. And that is to protect linemen that are working on the grid. We don't want to zap them by backfeeding it. So theoretically, your system can produce, as long as the sun is shining, but it will not produce it during a power outage if you do not have batteries. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. I know sometimes people have it, and I understand it, but people have that in their mind that they are going to have power when the grid goes down if they don't have batteries. That is not the case. It's not because the system won't do it. It's because of National Electric Codes.
Thanks for explaining that, Shane.
You're welcome.
What is MTV's experience with the Tesla Powerwall?
On our end, our experience has been that it's a simple, straightforward battery system to size with customers. So we can hear what homeowners would like to see out of a battery backup system. We can hear what the important critical loads are. And it's been a very straightforward battery to communicate and design with folks so that once installed, folks have a good sized battery system that is sized for their critical usage, that meets what they want to use it for, whether it be self-consumption or time shifting or battery backup or even off-grid applications. And the folks that I've talked to, the homeowners that I've talked to and helped design and install battery backup systems for using Tesla Powerwalls have been very happy. There's climate activists out in Western Maryland who, the derecho that happened right about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, is still fresh in their mind. They installed the Powerwall system to be prepared for the next storm. As we know, storms are getting worse. And they've been prepared. It's worked like a charm. And in addition, the husband has been really happy with playing with the system to see how much of his house he can run off of it during times of grid connection, to use it for self-consumption. Then there's other folks in Morgantown who have a significant amount of their house, including their entertainment system and their gas heating system backed up. And then there's a fella right here in Virginia who's going to install a Powerwall later this winter to use it for self-consumption so that he can use his own solar generation overnight. And everybody I talk to who has them really loves how intuitive the monitoring system is, how easy it is to use, And, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that it works, and people have been happy that it works. Jabari and Shane, I'm wondering if there's any kind of standout stories or experiences from folks who you've helped install Powerwall systems for.
Actually, I have a really good one for a customer that they also run a bed and breakfast on a farm in Northern Virginia, and they had a transformer blow on a Friday, and it wasn't until Sunday evening that I guess nobody heard the explosion. It wasn't until Sunday evening that they had realized that the transformer blew and called the power company. And that is because their house automatically switched over to the power walls, and it was running on the power walls. They were drying clothes. Now, some of that stuff you want to be doing during the daylight hours, and especially with heavier appliances and heavier loads. And it just, was kind of serendipitous that that's the way it was going. But they gave me sort of a synopsis, a recap of the weekend of all the different things that they did that weekend and how much power they used, and never even knew that they were without a transformer. Guys, I got a breaking story for you. Coming to us live from Hagerstown Community College, we have Mike Studholm. Mike, how are things going over at Hagerstown Community College today?
Oh, I think he's on mute.
We appear to have a technical issue where
Mike, you should be able to tap the screen, and there should be a mute button at the bottom of the screen.
There it goes. There it goes.
Right.
All right.
All right, Shane, you want to introduce him again?
Keep rolling, man. This is good.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. We good? Okay. Sorry for those technical difficulties. It's a beautiful 70 degrees out here and sunny in Hagerstown, Maryland, and our crew is up on the roof right now of the Hagerstown Energy House, Hagerstown Community College Energy House, and we're installing 96 thin film modules, and things are coming along great. We're expected to be done today, and I don't know if I can flip the screen here, but you guys see what's going on up there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Things are coming along great. So this is my alma mater. I graduated from Hagerstown Community College, so this is kind of a special project for me, and the reason why I want to put in some sweat equity, donate my time today, make sure that hopefully we get done today, and these guys are really working hard. We're roped off, and it's a great project. We've got a 9K inverter, which is sized properly for the 77.5 watt modules, and which doesn't sound like a whole lot these days. These thin film cells actually were donated to the college, and so we provided everything else, everything but the panels themselves we provided. So it's coming along great out here.
That's great, Mike. That's great. It's cool.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's hard to tell if you can see what's going on up there, but
That's a good shot.
got a few panels up there. It's slow going, honestly. It's a little bit out of our typical realm of expertise, but it's one of the things that we do very, very well is adapt and overcome and make the system work. So it's coming along, and we're expecting to be done today.
That's great.
Yeah.
Glad you got good weather too, man. That makes it about the best place to be.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Everybody in the region should be real happy with their production today. I mean, it's definitely a blue sky day and perfect temperature for an install. So nobody's burning their knees on the roof today, which is good.
That's great.
We always like that, for sure.
Well, Mike.
So
yeah.
I'll let you all get back to the Tesla Powerwall podcast. There's no Powerwalls on this site. Maybe someday. Maybe Tesla will allow us to get some power packs someday to do to size something for an entire college. That'd be kind of cool. Probably a mega pack or two. That would be pretty interesting. Because as we know, the demand side of demand management for commercial clients is something that the Powerwalls can help with as well, or batteries in general. So one thing I'd like to add is I actually had a conversation back and forth with a homeowner yesterday, and they're really interested in going off grid. And I suggested, it's a pretty big house, and I always encourage people to have off grid as a goal, but it's kind of hard to jump right into being off grid. So we had the conversation about how you can kind of phase towards being off grid, and the Powerwalls can help us get there and kind of help us learn how to live off grid. If you program the system to self-consume, so you're using your battery bank first before you're actually drawing off of the grid, and you can kind of see through the monitoring, you're tracking what you're using from the grid, what you're using from the Powerwalls, and what you're using from the solar array on a daily basis. So you can kind of virtually go off grid and understand, okay, well, this amount of energy is good for me in my home. And you can also, do real trials where you can throw your house into an off grid circumstance and live off grid for a day or two, and just kind of learn how to minimize your energy usage and how to live off grid, because we're used to being able to use our power whenever we need it, and
Right.
when we're operating off of batteries is a whole nother story. You really have to energy management needs to be in your mind day to day. So that was kind of a conversation we had yesterday, and I'm not sure if that had been mentioned yet, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Good luck out there.
Buddy.
See ya.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
There are many different battery options. Why would I choose Powerwall?
That's a great question, Carrie. We've been putting battery systems in for a dozen years, and we love the Tesla Powerwall. So here's a couple of reasons why we think this is the best battery to use. It's a safe lithium battery, not a lead acid battery. That's a big component to it. It has to do with the cycle lives and longevity and how it will function, the depth of discharge. All the technical components of the battery are wonderful. So that's a big part. It's a relatively small and compact battery. Unlike other competitors, the Powerwall can be mounted on the floor attached to the wall or up on the wall. So it's very versatile. You can stack them in front of each other. So they thought a lot about, how do I take up less room when I'm putting in batteries? That's a big plus. They have a 10-year warranty. That's incredible. It's a NEMA 3 enclosure, which means if there needed to be an exterior location, you could use that. NEMA 3 is the classification that allows equipment to be outside, and it's weatherproof, so to speak. They had that out of the box, so it's a great option there. Another thing is that the Powerwall is vendor agnostic for the inverter, which means that it can be used, it's AC coupled, with any pre-existing solar PV system that's out there. And that's a big deal. It's a plug and play unit. The software has been put in place. It works with any system out there, which is really, really good. We don't have to wonder or worry about, well, will this battery work with this application? It fits across the board everywhere, which is wonderful. The other thing is that no other battery on the market scales like the Powerwall. And I'll talk a little bit about that, and I'm probably going to get Jabari to jump in on the technical side. Other batteries, you can increase the capacity, but you can't increase the discharge capability. So in other words, the amount of power that a Tesla can output is superior to the other batteries on the market. So Jabari, can you tell us a little bit more about that? That's very important. How do we let our folks watching today understand what that means better?
I'm glad that you bring this up, Mike. Yes, as far as scalability, there's no other platform available in the marketplace that scales quite as well as the Tesla Powerwall. As you were alluding to earlier, a Tesla Powerwall has about 13.5 kilowatt hours worth of storage, and it can discharge 5 kilowatts of power. So it has a continuous output of 5 kilowatts. But as you add Powerwalls, you also increase your storage capability, but you also increase your power output. So if you had 2 Powerwalls, you would have 27 kilowatt hours of storage and the ability to discharge or supply 10 kilowatts of power. With other battery platforms on the market, as you add batteries to your installation, generally you're only increasing your storage capability. You're not increasing the amount of power that system can output. You have to purchase and add additional inverters to facilitate that. So when it comes to scalability, especially when you're looking at multiple batteries and a high storage capability, there's no other platform that can match its power output.
That makes sense. All right. So then, yeah. So we have a weekly sales call, as you might imagine, and we talk about all the different clients that we're working with and engaging with. And I can tell you that more and more we're leaning towards and selling the Powerwall solution to the clients that are interested in storage. And that particular component that you've already brought up has a lot to do with solving the equations that our customers have, the amount of amount of equipment they want to run, and for the duration. So that's why we're seeing this platform really take off. We see it as the best battery solution out there on the market today, and we know that Elon will continue to grow that market. Other things that we love about the battery are the online monitoring portal. As you might imagine, anything created by Tesla is going to be beautiful and it's going to work seamlessly. So the online platform is wonderful. Our customers love it, and it's like all things Tesla, easy to use and looks great. The other thing is that it is a really attractive battery. If you can have a pretty battery, they made it. It's just streamlined, sleek. We've had people that wanted to put it in more prominent locations in their home so their guests would see it. True story. But it's just a beautiful looking battery. Also want to point out, as you might imagine, that MTV Solar, we are completely Tesla certified. That's the salespeople and the install team. We did that certification a year ago or more to make sure that we're trained up. The training process that we went through was wonderful. They're a large company. They get a very good training program that helped us hit the ground running seamlessly. We've had very few issues with the installations. And now that we put in many, many Powerwalls, it's a seamless interaction for us and the consumer. And we really got just a nice, comfortable timeline on the installation. So wonderful battery. And we're really glad that they finally came to market. And I was just on the phone with our Tesla supplier talking about, designating batteries for Q1 and Q2 next year. And I want to let the sales team know I got a good, healthy amount reserved. So continue selling the Powerwall. They guarantee me we're getting them.
How safe is the Powerwall?
The Tesla Powerwall is actually extremely safe. It's been road tested quite a bit, as we know, by Tesla cars. So you don't have those kind of circumstances in your house. It has an internal heating and cooling system to sort of regulate its core temperature. That's why they can actually technically be mounted outside. We always recommend it and look to try and mount them inside just to optimize the amount of energy that it has available. So part of that heating and cooling system sort of communicates with the BMS to regulate the health of the cells. The battery management system actually monitors the health of the cells and communicates with the system. And that way, if there is any sort of problem, it automatically shuts down. So you can sleep well knowing that.
Yeah, great. Okay, we're going to wrap up this episode. This was about the Tesla Powerwall. As you can tell from watching this episode, we love this battery. We waited for this battery for years. We finally have it, and our consumers are loving it as well. So we're looking forward to more developments with the Powerwall. We're in touch with their team. We've got a good idea of the next things they're going to announce and release related to the Powerwall, to the firmware, the software, and to the capabilities that they're going to have coming out. So what you can rest assured knowing is that this company, the Powerwall, Tesla Powerwall, is going to grow with all of your future needs to respond to whatever might be happening in the energy environment. That's a broad statement, but that's how those guys think over at Tesla. It's a wonderful thing. So I'd like to ask you to like, share, and subscribe, and please comment below, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. In the meantime, if you're interested in a Tesla Powerwall, contact one of the MTV Solar experts, and we'll be happy to take a good look at your needs. We're a low pressure organization. We want to give you the information and help you make the best decision you can make for your family. And that's it. Enjoy the weather out there, and thanks for watching.